Right, you guys make sure you like this video and subscribe to Mike's, okay? Make sure. If you don't subscribe to Mike, you're gonna have a fat forehead and a big hairline.
Well, I'm with the guy Max inside. Subscribe to him. Make sure you do still. Best content coming out. You know how it is.
Hello, welcome back to another video, people. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're smashing the likes and subscribing if you're new, which we're closing in on 900 subscribers. I'm trying to reach 1K before the end of the season. Arsenal 0, PSG 1. And yeah, because sometimes I do match reactions to other matches as well. So I wanted to give my take on this. I'll give the same take to Barca Inter tomorrow. Yeah, that didn't go how I expected it to go, not going to lie. I thought Arsenal would win 2-0 today. Cool. Maybe I shouldn't have overlooked PSG's attack. I hear it. But at the same time, PSG's attack still isn't as good as people say it is. And today it kind of proves that for me. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the amount of chances they should have gone, like should have finished to go 2-0 up, 3-0 up, etc. They could have put that game to bed. And to be fair, they played like this against Liverpool and Aston Villa as well. Against Liverpool, they didn't really look like losing. And against Aston Villa, cool, a little threat from Aston Villa, but they held themselves up. And the most impressive part about PSG is their midfield. And we've talked about this before. They completely peppered Liverpool's midfield. And yes, Thomas Partey wasn't there. Don't think it would have made much of a difference today, however. What I'm really impressed with people like Vitinha, Fabio Ruiz, and João Neves is that they take the right amount of touches. Now, I think João Neves' performance did dip a little bit in the second half. But with them three, they wait until the pass is never on for them to pass backwards. They will always try and pass forward. And yes, it's a risky game, but that's the whole point of playing this football. It's high risk, high reward. That's the philosophy Luis Enrique comes with. I don't rate him as much as other managers, but it is what it is. I think they really controlled it. And that kind of makes the difference between their midfield and Arsenal's midfield, because Rice was doing this job. But Marino, we've seen, is very limited. He was winning the ball back quite well today, but on the ball, it was actually ridiculous how one-dimensional he showed himself to be. But it's nothing we haven't seen before when he's playing in midfield. Who would have thought he would have been better up front in a position where he's never played before that Leicester game? Martin Odegaard, some uncomfortable conversations. This guy, his whole game relies on Saka way too much, I have to say, man. This guy, oh my days. He's genuinely an eyesore. I don't like so-called creators via profile that take too many touches of the ball, that only rely on a certain amount of passes that get the best out of their game, whereas the reverse ball to the right-hand side, etc. I think he takes too many touches. I think he overthinks the game. I think he's too predictable, and he relies on Saka way too much for combination play to actually get the best out of his game in general. The fact that Nwaneri came on when it was 90 minutes, and he's getting Maxwell Cornet minutes. And what I mean by that, if you're not a West Ham fan, is boys used to sub on Maxwell Cornet in the 90th minute all the time. This guy's getting Maxwell Cornet minutes. In my opinion, he should be starting now for Arsenal. It's come to a point, where the kid's ready. The kid's ready to play. But someone like Odegaard, who you're more of a senior man than Nwaneri is, but your level of experience only really holds out when you can show the class with your experience. And what I mean by that is that if you carry the know-how with your experience, Odegaard doesn't show any know-how for him to have the excuse of, he's playing because of experience. Because you have to have know-how as well, and he doesn't. He doesn't carry that. He's not showing any quality throughout that. And listen, he's not the only one. I didn't see Saka today. It's very rare that you don't see Saka appear in the game and don't really see him as effective. And listen, if anything was going to come from Arsenal, it was going to be from him. Or the fact that Hakimi was going to make a mistake, who, by the way, was absolutely horrendous as a defender, relying on Marquinhos to defend everything down the right-hand side. As much as PSG are 1-0 up, you cannot play like that at the Parc des Princes. Because Arsenal are naturally going to rise their game a lot more, because it's the second leg. So will PSG, don't get me wrong, but I just see that left-hand side. If Arteta had, any managerial sense, he'll find a way to try and exploit that. He'll be looking at that right-hand side. How can I adjust the whole team to exploit that? I don't know who you can play down there. Maybe you play Lewis Skelly on the wing. I don't fucking know. You got to find something with Martinelli and Trossard, because they're awful players. Well, not awful players, awful for Arsenal standard. But Hakimi will give you all the space in the world. It might be a system thing, but honestly, this guy was leaving so much space. It was actually ridiculous. But I didn't see Saka today. A lot of people are going to talk about Declan Rice because we gave, as a footballing community, we gave Declan Rice, the credit for scoring 2 goals and rising in a game against Real Madrid. But against PSG, cool. He wasn't like scoring free kicks, but he was winning the ball back. He was doing his job. He couldn't do any more. He couldn't do any more. I'm sorry, he couldn't do any more. And I know he has his limitations in build up as a lone 6, but come on. There's only so much he can do. There's only so much he can do. What is Marino doing in midfield? What is Odegaard doing in midfield? They're meant to be the 8s. I'm not trying to hear any, like, Declan Rice isn't in my club anymore, but I'm kind of like, it's very disingenuous if I'm hearing Declan Rice slander before I'm hearing Odegaard criticism or Saka criticism today, or Martinelli or Marino or Trossard, and even Saliba. Saliba was another one. Saliba is someone who has been put on a pedestal for a very long time. And listen, I still think he is a really good defender, but I don't think he's as good as Arsenal fans say he is. I think it's very reliant on the structure of how Arteta plays, how he sets up his defense. And listen, I know Kivior doesn't help, but a lot of his mistakes wasn't because of Kivior today. He was very sloppy with the ball, very sloppy decision making. Didn't have to really defend 1v1 that much, as they don't really play a natural striker until Gonzalo Ramos came on. And even when he did, he was making runs where Saliba should have been switched on. He's not as tight to his defender. And cool, that relies on the relationship you have with Gabriel. But if we're praising you how you play with Kivior against Real Madrid, we do have to criticize you when you play like that against PSG, because at least with Rice, he's not playing it at 8, so he's not really going to create as much. But at least he was creating when he was playing it at 8. Whereas Rice is playing in the 6 now. He's doing his job. What more do you want him to do as the lone 6? Where Saliba's played in the same position, in the same system, against a different opponent, and this time not performed. That's why I'm, apples and oranges and all of that. But yeah, Saliba was poor. This is where big players got to rise. Big players got to rise in big games. And he didn't. He did against Real Madrid. He didn't today. Saka rose against Madrid. He didn't today. And something that Arsenal took advantage of against Real Madrid, which was the poor fullbacks, was something that like sort of Kvaratskhelia and Doué were like battling with against Arsenal, where Timber and Lewis Skelly very good at defending. Timber obviously came off injured, should have came off 10 minutes before he actually did. But those were the 2 battles of the night for me. The Doué against Lewis Skelly was very interesting, same with Kvaratskhelia and Timber, because it wasn't like either player destroyed the other. Very good to watch, very entertaining. That's why I think Saka struggled with Nuno Mendes as well. Timber doesn't really offer much support going forward. He doesn't really do fuck all going forward. So now you're just relying on Saka and Odegaard having to combine, where I do think when PSG weren't hit on transition and Arsenal were building up, that PSG were defending really well in that sense, in that phase of the game. I do have to say that. So, yeah, that is it from me. But that's what I make of the game. Job's not done. I do think it'll be very difficult for Arsenal to turn it around, but you can never say never in the Champions League, especially in the second leg. We literally saw that with the quarterfinals. So I'm not going to laugh too much. I'm going to laugh a little bit at the fan reactions tomorrow, but Arsenal aren't completely out of it. But I just don't see Arsenal as the kind of team to turn it around. But I also thought PSG would lose today. So what do I know? Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to your new social medias over in the description if you want to follow me and email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys later.